Welcome to Podcast vs. Play, episode 210. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who accidentally rubbed ketchup in his eyes. Now he has hindsight. He's missed me. He's bloody missed me. It's only bloody Dan.
Hello.
We're back, Dan. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Miss Christmas, yes. Christmas.
Arse and Christmas.
Christmas.
Arse. Yeah, did you have a good one?
Yeah.
In both categories?
It was fine, mate. Yeah, it's Christmas. I got to spend it at home. I got to do nothing. And we did a quiz.
We did do a quiz.
On
I forgot
time.
about that, yeah.
Now, if you look at the upload date, we was not on time, but we recorded it on time.
Yeah. The schedule's been a bit behind, but it's all holiday season busyness, isn't it?
Catching up. We've been very busy. Dan's had to go to hospital for stupidity.
My penis reduction.
Now he's legally a woman.
Woohoo! Did it?
No, Dan had a little boo-boo on his foot. I say a little boo-boo. It was quite bad.
Really? I mean, I'm still not entirely convinced of how it happened, but I just did a little sort of like, walking home with my shopping, sort of like a little stumble like that. Next day, I couldn't walk. That was the case for about a week. I went to hospital to get an X-ray, and they were like, "It's not broken." So that was one thing out of the way. Yeah. And then I've just been sort of working from home for the last 2 weeks and literally not been doing anything. No gym, no nothing. I'm going out tomorrow night, Callum, and that's the only plans that I've had in like the last 3 weeks. And this is just after like lockdowns come out.
You've caught up with Pokemon and Zelda and lots of games on the Switch.
That's true. Have we gone over all of that? Like, I can't even remember if that's something that we've mentioned.
We've mentioned that you've finally joined the masses and purchased a Switch.
Maybe then, yeah.
I don't think you had Pokemon at the time.
Well, now my collection, I'm like, because this is the first console that I bought in like the last 12 years, 13 years maybe.
Yeah, like I'd say.
The last one was one of the...
3 or 360?
No, it was a 3. I never bought a PS3. I have one, I never bought it, but it was a 360 Slim. That was the last one I bought, and that was to replace my other
Star
360.
Wars one?
No, it was just one of the the black slim ones.
I had it in my head you had the Star Wars one for some reason.
I probably would have wanted it because of like the cool R2D2 thing, but no, I just got the sleek one. It didn't have the like external hard drive that you could take off and move around.
That's how I got an Xbox One through my house insurance because we had that leak, and my original 360 Elite got damaged in the water, and when the woman they came and assessed all the damage and stuff, and then she rang me up and said, "I've just sent you a link via email for the Xbox that will replace yours with. Just check everything's all right." And it was the new Xbox 360 Slim, so my hard drive wouldn't go on it. So I was just like, "Nah, like I'll just have the money instead." And then she's like tapping away on the keyboard. She's like, "Right, that's £350." Went, yes, yes it is. And then I got the money literally 6 hours later. So it's stupid. Went and bought an Xbox One.
Yeah, I didn't pay 350 quid for it. That would have been an outrage.
Because Zoe bought me that one Christmas with Fable 2 and Fallout 3, and it was about 300 quid then. But this was, like I said, Xbox One had been out a while by this point. I already had a PS4 and that. So whether they've just gone off the details they took off the console itself and just went, what's it worth? And then it's come with the original thing. But I said I never questioned it. I was like, yep.
Well, I didn't pay that much for this either, but I got Brilliant Diamond, which is what I'm trying to work my way through now. I'm prioritizing that over Shield because Shield's pretty good, but I don't know, there just seems something a bit more Pokemon-y about Brilliant Diamond. It's just sort of like little mini dudes, and
bear in mind, I think maybe Yellow was the last one you played.
I played Leaf Green as an emulator on my phone, but that was just a
legally
remake of. Well, yeah. That was just a remake of Blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I did play Yellow, but
fun fact: Leaf Green is actually a remake of Pokemon Green, which was Blue in Japan.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, because it was it was the equivalent of
Fire Red and Leaf Green.
That was it. Yeah. But I got so Shield I've sort of put on the back burner for the moment. I've been playing quite a lot of Metroid. Quite far into Metroid now. Really enjoying that. Breath of the Wild I'm just trying to power through because good God it's big. Super Smash Bros came a couple of weeks ago, and I think I've unlocked like whole 10 characters on that now.
I've got every single bastard one and DLC.
Yeah. I need to, the DLC, some of the DLC stuff, like the Final Fantasy VII ones and things. I'm just sort of like, is it worth a couple of quid maybe just to get Sephiroth and Banjo? Yeah, but I'll get the rest of them first.
Yeah, there's plenty.
But there is plenty. But at the same time, I kind of I'm getting used to playing with each of them because they all play slightly differently. So I do kind of want to play that online with you at some point because I need to unlock some of that.
We'll do it this week.
Yeah, definitely. Animal Crossing I've been playing a bunch of. And then I've got Pokemon Arceus coming next week, which I'm very much looking forward to because I was hoping to have, because that means I'll have 3 Pokemon games on the go at the same time, which is not sensible. I'll tell you that. And then I got Timberborn that I bought yesterday or the day before, which definitely isn't up your street, but it's like a city builder with beavers. It's just quite a fun, cute little sort of resource gathering, avoiding droughts and stuff. It's quite cool.
I was talking to you the other day about Animal Crossing. I was like, man, I haven't played Animal Crossing for ages, and now Dan's got it. I'm going to start playing it again. And I forgot to get turnips on the Sunday.
I have now a phone reminder, every Sunday at 10 o'clock. It comes up, it's just like, buy turnips. Because I'll wake up and go, it's a Sunday, why is my alarm set for 10 o'clock? Idiot, go to bed. And then that's it, I've missed my window. I need to remind myself to get the turnips.
Well, I did like a day of playing on the Saturday or whatever day it was. And then the Sunday, I was pissing about and then Zoe was like, oh, can I just log into mine and do stuff? I was like, yeah, so come off it. And then it was only a little bit later and fucking turnips. So Zoe's like, I'll buy some turnips and I'll put them outside your house. I went, cheers. So Zoe bought me loads of fucking turnips. And then on the Monday, I was at work. And she went, I've still got all your turnips here to put outside your house. I went, nah, it's fucking sell them. I ain't going to play it no more.
She can bring them to my house. I'll sell them.
So, but then ironically, the next day, I was like, no, I'm going to play again. But she'd already got rid of all my turnips. So
I bet she sold them for... I've got an app on my phone that you put you put the turnip prices AM, PM every day, and it will predict what how much the turnip should be the following week and
Animal
stuff.
Crossing stock market.
Well, it's called the Stork Market.
There you go.
Which is brilliant. Annoyingly though, I'm fairly sure that turnips, they don't have stalks. So
no,
I don't. Unless the bit that grows out the top, maybe. But I would have thought that celery or corn or something like that, something that is stalked,
long and girthy.
That's a term. Then
a turnip.
That would have been, or there's if there's a stock exchange sort of thing. So today carrots are super, so you got to go and trade all your carrots in or whatever. They make loads of money off that.
They do that with their what's hot today. So it's a chair or a washing line or something like that. But sometimes it'll be, I forgot what it is, but it's a really fucking cheap thing to make. Like one of the bookcases or something stupid like that. I made loads of money doing that. Because it was literally
just like making a bunch of them.
Yeah, because I can't remember the exact recipe, but it was literally 4 wood and a flour. I don't know what it was, but it was dirt fucking cheap. and it was it didn't. There was no rock or like stone or anything in it or iron. It was literally wood, and then like one other thing.
Yeah.
So it was literally do it until your fucking bag's full. Go fucking sell them. Go make some more, and just do that. It's dead good. But it's every now and again.
Like it really annoys me when like I find like a bunch of skeletons that I've already donated to the museum, say, and then go to the shop and I'm just like, here's like a triceratops skull, and here's a plesiosaur tail, and here's a whatever, and they're like, oh sure, we'll offer you $3,000 for them all. I'm like, these are dinosaurs. You realise that, right? You should be paying me out the arse for these, you tiny little shitbags.
Give you $3,000 for all of these, and can I interest you in this kettle for 17,000?
Or a dehumidifier? No thanks, I'm all right.
But I went on the other day because I want a TV, and I know it doesn't do anything. I just want a TV because the furniture doesn't fucking point to anything. And I went in to see like maybe it knows what I'm doing, and now I've come back. It's gonna treat me good. And I went in and it was like a washing line, a frying pan, some fucking other bullshit. I was like, great.
You need to go to the ATM machine and have a look through the catalogue, because if there's a TV in there, there's got to be.
No, like the catalogue in that is stuff that you've previously had access to.
Oh, really?
So it's stuff that you've already got and you can get it again, or stuff that you've had access to. Because I thought that was a much better solution. But
yeah,
them nukes are little bastards.
Yeah, well, I was like, I've been, I've got a little garden, and it sort of get me like 20-30 grand, and then I'd do like a lap of the island, and gather up all the flowers and then all the shells and stuff like that, and then take all of that and then sell it all. And I've got like my little cottage, which is just it's sort of like it's got like an extra room now, and I've just had another extension, so I haven't looked at that yet, but I might do that tonight actually. Little treat for me. I know this doesn't mean anything to anyone, and they don't give a shit, but it's fun.
I love Animal Crossing.
It's so good.
Told you.
But then I went on to I went to my mate's island because we'd been talking about this for ages. I was just like, eventually, as soon as the right deal comes up, I'll get myself a Switch, and Animal Crossing is definitely going to be one of the first ones on the list, which it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to her island where she's put it, and it like, because there's a stat tracker thing. It's like it's over 1,000 hours that she's got in it. It was like a town. I was just like, this is incredible. Like, she had like all these different themed rooms, and like then there was like, oh, and here's the ice cream part, and here's the barbecue area, and and it was just the whole island had just been like decorated, and I was just like, I wish you hadn't come to my island, because you would have just been like, what is this garbage dump?
What's the rest of it?
It's just like there's like 4 cottages, but then I've got Tom Nook, who's just like, you owe me 500 grand for that new extension, please, mate. And I'm over on Paradise Island, but he's making homes for other people.
If you go on the, I wouldn't advise it, but if you go on the Animal Crossing Reddit, some of the island, like, people have got like full like Tokyo themed. There's fucking proper like big buildings. I gotta
give them credit.
Yeah,
for,
some of them are amazing.
The amount of content that they've just put in there, where it's just sort of like you say, it's just like, here's a tea set. Here's a room divider. Here's a specific bush. Here's a whatever. Like, there's just so many random little items that you can just sort of like, here's an incense burner. Here's a sea monkey's pot. I've got one of those. Why? I don't know, but
I've got a hamster.
Have you?
Yeah, he's in a little. But you can't. So some of the stuff you can interact with.
There's a hamster neighbour. Like, how do they feel like that?
Just in a little cage, and you can go up to it and shake it.
I wouldn't recommend that.
You don't really. It's just, when you move, you go up and you can move stuff. You do that, and I just press the button really quick, so it goes. But
quick test.
Yeah, he's still there. Just gets in his wheel and runs. But
yeah,
I stopped because I've got one extension, and then I gave up. Like, so he's got 3 or 4, and I hate the fact that it loads when you go into it. It's like, I hate that. Fucking well annoying. And it just seems really pointless. So what I've done, my 2 rooms, I've just used room dividers to make it into 4 rooms.
But you buy, like, the extensions that you have, add extra rooms and like different levels and stuff like that on.
Yeah, no, but the fact that, like, I I'd rather put the money into trying to get this town stuff to build like the stupid big cities and stuff. But then I'm like, I don't really want to do it because it's a lot of effort.
You've got to do the grind, man. You got to play the stock market. You got to.
It's mostly just.
I wish there was a casino. If there was like a blackjack option,
there might be.
I'd like 500 bells on, double down, boom, 21. There's my new extension paid for, bang, straight away.
I mean, if it was cheaper, but like I say, it's a problem with all Animal Crossing games. Like Tom Nook's an absolute twat face in every single one of them, and there's no. So like you look at it and go, oh, your next extension is 40,000 bells. But the last one was 20, and it's the same size room, you fucking bastard. And then, to do this, you've got to have a bridge. I need you to pay 50,000 bells. Why do I have to pay for it?
Sorry,
it's your fucking island.
We'll accept donations from everyone else. Really? How about we get right, everyone? Let's just see how many donations. But all right, so Audi, okay. Well, you've made 5 bells. Thanks for that. Mabel over here, you've got 17 bells. Thank you very much. Oh, Hammy over here, we've got 28 bells, and I've paid 49,962 bells. And I've got a recipe for a bridge, which is about 48 pieces of wood. Let me just go build it. I'll build it. I'll knock you one up, Tom, in a minute. I mean, why have I got to pay out fucking 10 grand?
I'm not being funny.
It's like 50 grand. Fucking hell.
How close they are. Just lie a bookcase down.
Or I just build everyone a pole.
Yeah, why don't we all do that?
Pole vaulting poles.
Yeah.
They're not using any of the bridges anyway. I am. Surely, plus it's just like, we're going to start building homes on the island. I don't know why I've decided to critique this game so much all of a sudden, but it's just like, do you want to go out there and choose the plots for the houses? So I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like, it'll cost you 10 grand.
Yeah.
Will it? Am I getting that back? In some way, it's like, I'll give you miles. I don't give a shit, mate.
You give me miles now for doing it.
Mortgage? No, they're bollocks.
He's such a bastard. He really is.
It's like in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, where it's just like, all these like cool components. Oh, here's a scrap of food. It's just like, here's like 40 grand's worth of bells for me to go and put some neighbour plots down, and then I've got to go and make the introductions like the real estate agent and get everyone to actually move in the island. He's sat there just making a sweet quiche, and he comes and goes, "Oh yeah, I'll give you 1,000 of my made-up currency that you can only use from that machine over there in the corner, mate." Like, what an absolute racket this guy's running. You can't spend miles in there, can you?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about bells. Sorry.
No. I'd want the bells. I'm picking up shells every day, and you're making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Why is it not like, you put the, you build it or you choose the plot or whatever, and then the rent that they pay, you get like, a little cash influx.
Yeah.
Then it's worth the investment. It's like a long-term investment. It's invested in property. Instead, he's just sat there. It's just like, I reckon in the back, Isabel's just wanking him off.
Every time I go in, she's asleep.
Bell jobs.
Bell jobs.
That's what he's doing. He's just spewing bells everywhere, little bastard.
He's a proper fucker. He really, really, really is. This is why I don't play it, Dan.
I love it. It's so good.
Great game, though. Well recommended.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah. So I've got Arceus coming next week, and I've just completed God of War, the PC God of War, which dropped the other week. Incredible, and I've got a whole bunch more to do on that as well.
Have you seen the mods?
No, not yet.
Awful.
They're mental.
Well, one of them just kind of like gets rid of his beard and gives him like a mustache, like a 1960s boxer, like a proper little tweaky mustache. The other one gives him massive fucking eyes and a huge chin. I was watching a video and it's the bit when spoilers for a 2018 game.
It's like 2 weeks old on PC, that mate.
Nah, but no, it's not a spoiler per se. But it's when he's on about he's talking to Boy, and he's just like, I was born a god, blah 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 blah. And he's like, do you have nothing to say, boy? but through the whole thing, he's got big goggly eyes. It's just like, well, that's ruined God of War. They're the only
Taking some of the drama out of it.
Yeah, they're the only two I've seen up to now. I
don't think there's a Steam Workshop page for it necessarily, but I imagine that there's people tweaking those files all day long, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's on PC now, isn't it? So it's
genuinely
open itself
impressed
up
with it. Like, I knew at the start that it was going to be. It's just like, oh, people fucking bang on about this like it's fucking God's gift or whatever. It's just sort of like, oh, it looks quite cool and the combat's all right, but I swear to God, the more you get into it and like the story, like
it's
usually
perfect.
When I'm playing a game, I've got second screen and I'm watching something. Afterlife, season 3 of Afterlife has just that dropped last week as well. Have you seen that? Afterlife,
no,
season 3
because I have only got until the 1st of February to finish Parks and Recreation, so everything else is on hold.
No, that's fair enough. Afterlife is not going anywhere. Parks and Rec absolutely is though. But it's still, it's a solid season of it, so definitely worth a watch still. But this is probably the first game in quite a while that I'm just like, I can't have anything distracting me from this. Like, every story that Mimir is telling me, like, just like I'm rowing along, getting to where I need to be, and then just sitting in the boat for 5 minutes while he finishes his story, and then getting out and fighting a monster. But
it's so fucking good, mate. Really,
honestly, mate. And then like when it gets to like some of the big sort of like boss battles where it's just like you like fighting a dragon and stuff. It's like, oh, okay. But I mean, there's a few things that sort of bug me. It's just like, oh, I'm fighting another ogre. Well, it's going to be the same animation to kill him, and it's just like,
don't forget, it's like even though it's out on PC now, this is a PS4 game.
It is, mate, and it is like a 3-4 year old game by this point. And all it's done though is just made me really quite annoyed though, because as I was looking at this the other day, like Santa Monica Studios haven't necessarily said that Ragnarok is coming out on PC. They've said it's going to be on PS4 and PS5, and that's all they've announced so far. But the sort of if it does well, we'll consider it for PC sort of thing. Obviously, it's going to do well. Like, of course it is. Like, and it hasn't taken them from when they released it in 2017, 2018, whenever it was. It hasn't taken them this long to port it to PC. They've only, I imagine that's what, a year's work maybe, just to sort of just do all the tweaks and optimize it. And
Digital Foundry did the comparison. Like it's like I said the other day, it's just the PS5 version of it, which again is just it's not to the extent Days Gone, where it massively improved the performance of the game and everything else. It already ran fine, just looks a little bit better, runs at a high frame per second.
Yeah.
And it's literally just the PS5. Like, this could have come out last year easily. It was just a timing thing, I imagine, more than anything else.
I think so, and I think that with, like, again, and this is what we've talked about before, and it's always been my argument as to why, the lack of PlayStation games coming to PC. And whilst it's obvious, it's Microsoft, they own blah blah blah, but Microsoft and Xbox are still two different entities. It's under the same umbrella, sure, but
less so these days.
Yeah, more so. It's just becoming one giant monopoly. But it just never seemed to make any sense that, why wouldn't you release that game to, like, an Xbox console? Maybe you could make the argument of it can't handle it. Like, we would have to downscale this significantly in order for that machine to run this. A PC, on the other hand, wouldn't. So it would be additional cash for them to make off this if they were to sell it on PC.
It is, but
and then I think we've had like Beyond Human, and then we've had Days Gone, and we've had Horizon. I think these are all test cases to make sure that the reception is positive and that they can make money off it. And then God of War is sort of the big first toe dip into, okay, is this going to work? And if it's well received and it works well, and I got it obviously day one and it worked perfectly and I haven't had a single issue, I can't think of a single reason other than they want to leave it on PS4 and PS5 for a certain amount of time to justify the existence for the game being on those consoles primarily. But then, why wouldn't you sell it on PC afterwards?
Well, I think it's more in Sony's best interest to keep as many people primarily on a PlayStation console than it is to cater to a PC audience. And when I've used this example many a time for other things, but mostly for this. But if Microsoft were doing a lot better with the Xbox, we wouldn't have Game Pass. You wouldn't have Play Anywhere and all this stuff. You would have this game is on Xbox, whatever console it is at the time, and nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with the crossplay stuff, Microsoft are like, well, Sony are being big fat babies and they won't let us play together. But if you rewind back to the 360 era when Microsoft was the lead party and Sony went, hey, why don't we do a bit of crossplay? And they went, no, fuck you. And so it never happened. And it's just, that's just a back and forth with two of the biggest gaming companies in the world, minus Nintendo. But it would make, from a business perspective, I know that they're going to sell a lot of copies of God of War, of Uncharted, of Horizon, whatever the game is. It's not going to benefit them as much as that amount of people buying a console and then spending their time there.
That's why they have to put a time delay on it. So it's just like, so if, when's Ragnarok due out? Is it this quarter?
February.
Really?
No, I don't think it's that soon. I'm going to quickly Google it, but...
let's just say it's within the next 6 months or so. That means that if you bought God of War 1 on PC and you didn't have a PS4 or a PS5 and you played God of War and you were like, holy shit, that was amazing.
September.
Okay, so September. So I don't want to wait until September. When the next one is out in September, I don't want to have to wait 2 years, maybe more, for Ragnarok to show up on that. I'll go and buy a PlayStation instead. But my thinking for that would be, if you're interested in getting a PlayStation, you already would have done it by now.
If you are interested in getting a PlayStation, good luck.
I mean, stock is starting to come back up. So it's not unreasonable to think that by... I'd love to play this as soon as it comes out.
You can buy mine if you want.
Ragnarok as soon as it comes out.
This is
because I'm not going to use it for anything else. And now Uncharted's coming over as well, so what's the point?
Not the good one.
Yeah.
Got Lost Legacy of 4, so you're starting at the end. You've got
that's absolutely fine for me.
The very last game in the franchise and a spin-off.
Yeah, both of which I haven't played because they came out on PS4.
I mean, to be fair, 4's fantastic, but I still think Uncharted is a really bad example of porting any games over. And with the exception of God of War and Horizon, everything else has been a dead franchise. And again, testing the waters and stuff, but like Detroit is a one-off game, Heavy Rain is a one-off game. Days Gone I fucking loved Days Gone, but there won't be a sequel. It was not very well received across the board, even though it's fucking fantastic. And then again, Uncharted, Lost Legacy, not very well received, but again, pretty good. And 4, it's the last one. Like, I can't think of anywhere worse for PC gamers to start Uncharted. Let's start with the best one and then go, I really like that. I'm going to pick up a cheap PS3 and play the first 3 that aren't as good as the last one.
Well, no, I think it will just be a case of 4's the most recent one. It's one that maybe a lot of PC users, if they've given up on consoles after 3 would have come out, those are the ones that they haven't played necessarily.
Potentially.
So maybe they'll catch the end of that market, and then for the other ones, what is it, the Nathan... Because I saw the advert for the Nathan Drake collection, the PS5 one. Give it a year after, 4 and Lost Legacy drop, and then release that on PC as well.
Should
and then everyone will be like, I can play all the Uncharted. No way, I'll do that.
Golden Abyss. We need to show some love for that.
Yeah, why not?
The PS Vita one.
I just
really
can't
good.
see, like, they're testing the water with the best games and they're just getting great reviews, and they're going to make an absolute shit ton of cash off it.
The rumor being though, Project something, I can't remember the code name for it, is PlayStation's Game Pass. Now, if that's the case, I would assume that you'll see less of these kind of straight ports, and they will be available on PC, available on Nintendo Switch. Fuck it, let's just go all out. But as
it's not going to be on Switch, mate. You're not going to get fucking God of War on Switch, are you?
No, but as part of a streaming service.
There'd be enough power in that thing to render his axe, and that's about it.
Well, it would be internet dependent, wouldn't it, for a streaming service? I don't think it would be a streaming service. I think it would just be the same as Game Pass, where you go, I paid my money for Play Pass. Let me download God of War.
I'll tell you what, if they come up with the exact same thing and say it's nothing to do with Game Pass, it's its own service. However, it's the same thing as Game Pass, and it'll be an equivalent kind of price. But instead of having, all of the Xbox exclusives and now all of the, Bethesda and everything else that they're owning now. Other than those, now it's the Crash and the Spyro and it's Nathan.
It's definitely not Crash and Spyro.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, they've just gone as well. But all of their like their Jack and Daxters and that kind of stuff, all of those things, and now they'll be available in that sort of PC Game Pass Ultimate kind of thing. It's like if you've got a PS4 or a PS5, you can play it on that, but we'll also extend it into PC as well. I will absolutely pay for that, 100%.
You won't have the same quantity of games. Obviously, Microsoft's got EA. EA Play's part of the Ultimate subscription, and now they've got Activision, Bethesda, everyone else, like you just said.
No, Pro is part of the Ultimate, Play is part of the normal for PC.
There you go. I've got both, so it makes no odds to me. But,
yeah, I mean, you've already got Ultimate, so you're fine, but I've just got the normal Game Pass package thing, so I've only got EA Play.
So on Xbox, you've got to have Ultimate to get EA Play. On PC, you've just got to have normal Game Pass, but I've already got Ultimate. I was going to say, yeah. So they're going to have far more games to choose from. The quality, I think, is in Sony's corner. In terms of there's not a single game on Game Pass that stands up to God of War on its own. God of War Pass, just let me play God of War. There's nothing on Game Pass that's as good as God of War.
Nothing that springs to mind, at least. Nah. Like there's things that I enjoy, there's things that I put a lot of time and effort into, and things that I would happily recommend to others. But
yeah, I mean, don't go around going, I love Game Pass, but
I can't think of anything fairly recently, at least not off the top of my head, that I have purposefully messaged about 4 or 5 different people saying, "Did you get God of War?" Like, yeah, I assume that I'm, there's other mates that I've got that play games and have got PlayStation and stuff. Have you had this? And oh my god, I'm just experiencing this and it's incredible. There's the odd game I'll sort of drop a message like Rick, friend of the show, and just be like, "Oh, this might be up your alley."
Yeah,
but it's like a gentle recommendation. That's about it. I don't want to drag everyone who's ever played this together in a room and sit them down and say, "Oh my fucking god," when he gets his blades back. And then I also watched for about 4 hours all of the God of War movies. So like when someone's taken the game, or they've just taken out the gameplay and just left all the cutscenes in and just smushed it together into a coherent story. I watched all of those in a row for 1, 2, and 3, and then continued playing 4, because I was just like, there might be some little things in here I'm not seeing or I'm not missing, or where did it come from? I don't understand. Now I know it all.
Yeah.
And it makes absolutely no difference.
No, I mean, like in terms of how 4 progresses.
About 3% of what happens in the other games are actually referenced in 4. Not that that's to its downside by any means.
No, but I think it was just from a keep it connected to the previous games. But this is a reboot of sorts. Like the gameplay is totally different. The direction.
It's like a Tomb Raider.
Different.
It's your same character. It's your same. Everything else is the same. It's just. We need to steer this in a new direction.
Which some people didn't like on both accounts.
Imagine going, God of War.
I mean, those people definitely exist. And those people absolutely campaigning against me for what I said about nothing on Game Pass is as good as God of War. And I go, Halo is amazing, rah 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 rah. Which
it's
Halo's
yeah, sure.
fine. I love Game Pass, and I think it's incredible value. But I also think Netflix is pretty decent value for what you get. In terms of quality of content, there's not as much there. Same as Amazon Prime.
Anyone who's watching, anyone who's got a Netflix subscription, I reckon there's about maybe at most 5 to 10% of the actual content that's on there they're watching consistently.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've had it for fucking years, and do you know what I seem to watch at the moment? It's just
the same
The
stuff.
Office, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Star Trek whilst it's on there. It just sort of like a new film like Extraction or something like that. The old guard will pop up, or I'll be like, oh, that looks like a fun thing. I'll watch that and go, okay, back to The Office. Like that's not going anywhere.
That's also the problem of having too much choice, and like especially when like people work a lot, and for let's say like a weekend, up until Logan goes to bed, well, we've got to watch whatever is appropriate for Logan to watch with us. And then it will be a case of he's gone to bed, what do we need to watch? We need to catch up on this, we need to catch up on this, let's watch The Office, let's watch Parks and Rec. And you just carry on watching the same stuff. And granted, I've been trying to get through Parks and Rec, mostly because I don't want to watch it on Amazon Prime. No, I've got nothing against Amazon Prime, but the app doesn't work properly on my TV for some reason. So that means then I've got to watch it on the PlayStation or the Xbox or something.
Play it on your phone and then cast it to your TV.
I mean, I could also do that, but again, it's extra effort that I don't want to do. Whereas,
but where are you up to on Parks and Rec?
Season 6. I can't remember.
I didn't ask what season you were up to. I said what part are you up to.
The last episode was I think it was the one where Ron built the crib for Chris. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, I'm past that. I can't remember now. Round about there.
But that's still a fair chunk in though. When you know when you've got Rob Lowe and
that's watching nothing else. Like I've put a lot of stuff on hold.
I can binge Parks and Rec without too much issue.
No, it's not an issue. It's just like I wanted to kind of like just make it last a bit like The Office.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you mean, but I think if time's against you as well, you kind of need to get through. I haven't got much of a choice. I did watch all 4 episodes that are currently released for Peacemaker. That I haven't watched.
It's very good.
Book of Boba Fett, that I have been watching.
I think we've got different feelings on this show, Dan.
Okay, well, let's get into this then. Because also, did you watch The Eternals?
No, I still haven't watched it. Again, Parks and Rec.
That's fine. We'll come back to The Eternals when you've watched that at some point then.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it this weekend.
As far as I'm concerned, I'd say probably your time's better spent watching Parks and Rec than Eternals.
Shall I just start rewatching Parks and Rec?
Yeah, ideally, yeah. If you start doing it on Amazon, so if you up to where you are at the moment on Netflix, and then you just start watching again on Amazon, then you should be able to just catch back up with yourself.
I was just going to say, like, however long Eternals is, I'll watch that much time of Parks and Rec, and then
it's about 2 hours too long, for my opinion.
That's not a great endorsement.
It's. I think it's just. I think it's something that suffered because of lockdown and stuff, and it's just it's severe restrictions in terms of creativity and filming and stuff like that. Like, No Way Home is just sort of like because with Black Widow and the TV ones, I'm willing to give more of a free pass on because it's just sort of like, well, they're not supposed to be these huge, $100 billion, movies or whatever.
But when
a cool little thing.
I haven't watched the Eternals, but for most of the thing, we have a very similar. I know we're going to say this and then go into Book of Boba Fett and disagree. However, for the most part, most of the Marvel stuff, at least, we are very similar in what we like, what we don't like, etc.
Yeah.
And without seeing Eternals, if Hawkeye is better,
I enjoyed Hawkeye.
Hawkeye
a lot
was
more.
great.
Yeah,
and
that was a cracking little show. Like, it was fun. It was funnier than I thought it was going to be. I cannot remember, and it's going to kill me now. But the actress who was in Bumblebee, who plays Kate Bishop,
Haley. Joel Osment.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's Haley something or something Haley.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then like the other lady that's come over from, he plays Nat's sister.
Yeah.
It was just such a well put together little show.
Haley Steinfeld.
I think she absolutely fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Like, she was so good in Bumblebee, and then like I think that this is going to be another launch for her. Like, she's going to be in a lot more stuff, I reckon, going forward.
Yeah.
But that was brilliant, and it didn't seem to have it didn't seem that the sort of the Disney Marvel machine sort of slowed down. You know, it hit the WandaVision, it had done your Loki, it had done Falcon and Winter Soldier, and sort of went, oh, do we know what we're doing? And then it's sort of picked back up again. But then with like Black Widow, I wasn't really a fan of that. Eternals, I'm not particularly a fan of it. Shang-Chi's quite good, but it still felt like it was just all on a stage somewhere. And it wasn't until No Way Home came along, and I was like, we're back. Now this is a proper film again, and it's huge and it's bombastic, and
obviously we can't.
And I just don't think Eternals is that.
You can't compare like Winter Soldier to No Way Home and like in scope and everything else. But
no, I
get what you mean. I get what you mean though. Like we've gone from having here's the new Marvel film. Here's the new Marvel film. Here's the new Marvel, and now we're dropping down. That's not. I don't mean dropping in quality, but obviously there's less money. It's done on a faster timeline, so they're turning stuff around. I'm not sure how quickly the episodes are filmed back to back or whatever. But I honestly think Loki's the best one, but I think Hawkeye was the most Marvel one, if that makes sense.
I think I would agree with that. What I would suggest though, and what I think I will be doing going forward is I didn't watch Hawkeye week to week. I watched it all in one big go.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I did.
See, I still enjoyed watching it once a week.
It does my fucking tits in, mate. Like, we're past the point of episodal, week releases. Netflix has done it right. They go, here's a series, and I can just watch it once a week if I want to, or I can watch it all in a day, which is what I want to do.
Yeah. I think it's mostly to stop people going, here's the new season of the Book of Boba Fett. I'm going to use my 5-day free trial and blitz it and then not renew.
It would make more sense if they go, well, Disney Plus, you want access to all these shows and whatever, £45 a month. But they haven't. They've gone, it's like £4 a month. Like, there's only one reason that you couldn't afford that, and it's because you wouldn't buy it because you haven't got access to the internet.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, there's no other reason if you're interested in any of the content that Disney currently own, which is a lot, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're not a fan of Marvel, you're not a fan of Star Wars, you're not a fan of Disney in general, it's probably not the streaming service for you. However,
Scrubs is on there.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like Disney Stars,
it's got 24.
Grey's Anatomy and all that stuff. I mean, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy or anything, but there's so much content on there that a lot of people wouldn't assume is owned by Disney.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, someone's talking about a show that I think, oh, I like the sound of that, and I'll go to Netflix, then I'll go to Amazon, then I'll go to Disney, and more often than not, it's on one of them. There's only a few things that aren't.
Have you watched Only Murders in the Building?
No, the Steve Martin thing. It's
real good.
No, I haven't.
I fucking loved it, and it's about a podcast.
Oh, no way. I've still got to finish the X-Files, and then when I'd finished the X-Files, I was going to start Buffy, and then I never got around to that.
All these shows that you have previously finished.
It's just a ball ache, just living in this day and age with all this bloody content, mate. I can't absorb it quick enough.
I need to finish the X-Files, I need to finish Buffy, I need to finish Parks and Recreation, I need to finish The Office. It's like, what? What's going on? Have you watched Titans yet?
I'm watching The Office again, mate. And I rewatched Friends in its entirety. Like 8 seasons of Friends. Like, woof, man.
Peacemaker's really, really, really good.
I know you mentioned that. Yeah. I do want to get around to that at some point.
I massively recommend it. It's very funny.
Well, I've got a bit of an issue though, because there was a trailer that dropped for Picard season 2 that dropped the other day. That's out in March. That looks like a very promising. It looks like it could be a good little series. This one. That's going to come out on Amazon Prime, which is where season 1 is. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then Discovery season 4 and Strange New Worlds, which is I don't think you would have got that far into Discovery, but
nah, I gave up on it.
Oh, did you? Right. Well, spoilers for Discovery. I mean, I know that you're not particularly bothered, but so at the end of season 1, I believe, they're doing their sort of like normal busy work, and then there has to be, obviously in this day and age, there has to be, oh my god, there's a big thing, and then that's going to be the lead into the next season.
Bomb.
Exactly. And the bomb in this was as they'd done the mission and everyone had been saved and the galaxy's whatever, and then as they're sort of walking away, like, oh phew, whew, that was a busy old couple of days, guys, with a mirror dimension and killing an emperor and blah 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 blah. Let's drop Spock's dad off at home back on Vulcan, and they're like, right, okay, let's pop to Vulcan, and then they're on the way, like, oh, like they're talking to the audience, like, oh guys, we're getting a distress call through, and they're like, who is it? And then it comes up with like the comm system, and it's just like NCC 170, and then it like cuts away. It's like, oh, it's the Enterprise, and then the hairs on my neck just stood up.
You fucking nerd.
But then there's this incredible shot, and like to the point where with my housemate I was living with at the time, it meant nothing to him. I had to go and get him and bring him into my room and show him what I was watching, because I was like, what? And it was Discovery, this new ship, and it was in space, and then like coming in like this is like the original series Enterprise, like Kirk's Enterprise that sort of comes in, and then series end, and I was like, you can't just do that. You can't just drop in like the most famous one and then just end the season. But in that, so they it's still about like 10 years before Kirk gets that ship, but like there's Spock and there's a bunch of other sort of originals on there, and they've remade the bridge, and it's like it's amazing. It's such a good set that they've made for this new bridge. But because of, I think of like how well that was received, or it's just part of the plan, honestly, I'm not too sure, but that crew and that Enterprise, that is going to be its own separate series, called Strange New Worlds, and that's due on this like CBS Paramount fucking streaming whatever. And the first season doesn't start until May, and it's already been renewed for a second season, which is pretty good going, because then that means that probably for the first time in like CBS owning the property, or certainly maybe within its history, there is Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds, and Star Trek Prodigy, which is the animated thing.
Lower Decks.
And Lower Decks. Yeah, sorry, yeah, you're right. So that's 5 separate things, all being made and produced and creating content at the same time, which is, so that's this huge spark of like new interest and stuff. But then the sort of the Netflix thing has died on its arse a bit or something. Like they're all on there at the moment, but at some point Picard's going to be on Amazon, and it won't be on Netflix, which it isn't at the moment anyway. The Star Trek films are on Amazon, but they're not on Netflix. But then all the Star Trek shows are on Netflix and not on Amazon. And then when the Netflix thing goes tits up, they won't be anywhere in the UK.
Well, I assume that's down to so Netflix must have bought the rights to the movies, and Amazon had the rights to the TV shows, something like that.
Other way around. But,
sorry. But as with most things, like, it was a rare thing, because I was watching, not to drag it back around, but when I was watching Parks and Rec the other week,
not any excuse to talk about Parks and Rec, I'm okay with that.
But it came up like in the corner and just said available until February the 1st. I'm like, what? Went online, had a look, and it was saying this is one of the first times in any show on Netflix where they only had the license for a year, and they haven't extended it. Whereas everything else has gone.
So weird.
We'll go like 2 years, and then it's coming up to the renewal thing, and they'll say, right, it can go off for 6 months, but then we'll have it back for another 2 years. But they've just gone no, and they just left it at that. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Star Trek thing, they'll leave Netflix or they'll leave Amazon, but it'll only be like, I mean, look at The Office. The Office was only gone for like less than a month. Friends, they paid like $10 million or something to keep it.
There's like, I think with The Office as well, I think that's why it's going again. It's because like to keep it on that platform, it's billions.
Yeah.
Like because they know that it's so popular. It's just. It's this American way of just separating everything up into 1,000 pieces and then making people pay for each of them. Whereas slapping them all together,
it works well for them because obviously they still run on a similar setup to what cable used to be over here in England. But it's, you want CBS, you've got CBS. You don't want Hulu, you don't need to have Hulu. You want this, you can have it, and you build your package that you want. Whereas, but we don't have access to it.
Yeah, but the thing is that it says, oh, okay, well, you know, if you have 1,000 portions, like wherever The Office is, that's going to be with 15, 20, 50 other shows that production studio also makes or whatever. And then you're paying £8 a month or whatever it is to have access to that streaming platform. Well, you're only going to watch The Office on it. So the rest of it, pointless. And then you have to pay another £8 for another one because you want to watch Community because that's where that one is. Like, I'd fuck that. Put them all on Netflix. Just have one stop service for everyone to use and access.
I don't mind not ours, but I don't mind over here because it's, for the most part, people have got Netflix and they've got Amazon Prime and they've got Disney Plus. It's only 3 that I've got to worry about, and it's still cheaper than Sky or Virgin or anything like that.
For sure, yeah.
But if Netflix go, Disney Plus is a better one. Disney's trying to go, it's the Disney Plus Marvel, and it's just Marvel. Here's the Disney Plus Star Wars, it's just Star Wars. It's like, no, let's give you everything in one go.
Yeah, like it just makes more, I mean, hopefully, because if they want to fanny about with all this sort of like chopping and changing in America, it doesn't have a huge amount of impact on the UK because...
look at Titans. Look how long Titans Season 3 took. I mean, you still ain't watched it, but look how long that took to come to Netflix.
But it still takes a while to actually turn up on there, but you know that it will be all there. And I know that it will just be on Netflix at some point. I don't want to have to buy another streaming service or get a 7-day trial of another streaming service to watch the one show and then, do you know what I mean? It's just so much hassle.
I wouldn't mind if we could actually get them over here, but I see you can't get CBS without doing like VPN stuff, but you can't get... the stuff that's available, we can't get. Harley Quinn is not available on anything. It is now. It's on Adult Swim, which you can get on 4OD. But it's literally a case of, when I found out, I was like, oh, I can't even remember where I got to, so I'll just start from the beginning. Oh no, it starts at episode 17, and they've only got 4 episodes on there. Like, brilliant. But again, no advertisement for it. I hadn't got a fucking... The only reason I knew it was on there was I went to watch Rick and Morty. I went, cool, Harley Quinn. Let's catch up with that. I think
season 5 of Rick and Morty isn't on Netflix either.
No, because it's on 4OD before it's on Netflix. It's the only show that does it the backwards way. Channel 4 doesn't get anything before anyone. Even the news is old. But this just in. Prince William just got married. But there's. I mean, I'm not a bloody TV guru by any means. I don't know what the best means of way of doing it. I hate Sky Glass. Everyone's raging about that. I think it's a load of fucking bollocks.
I don't know what that is, but sure.
So you know Sky TV?
No, I don't want you to explain. I'm not going to have it or buy it or have anything to do with it, so that's fine. If you're interested, go and Google it.
Don't. It's shit. But what we will touch on before we go, because we've been rambling for an hour now.
Speaking of conglomerates and giant buyouts and everything being in one place in one go.
Microsoft. They've only gone and bloody bought Activision and Blizzard.
Which I asked my mate, right? We were playing a lovely game of FIFA, as you do. And I happened to mention to him, it's like, oh, have you seen the Microsoft bought Activision? How much do you reckon they bought it for? What do you think he said?
50 million.
You're not far off. He said 500 million, and I laughed in his face because it was 69, or rounded up, $69 billion dollars, which that is stupid money. I mean, as a Game Pass owner, I'm just like, sure.
Yeah, excellent.
I mean, more content for me. I can't argue with it. But we do start to enter into the very dangerous. Well, if everyone's owned by one company, all of a sudden there's no challenge. There's no, the threat of competition and all the fun stuff that comes from that. All of that goes out the window because Microsoft owns everything now. So I don't think I've seen them do, or I've not been given any reason to think that they're being a bit EA about it, sort of like buying things up and then not doing anything with them. They seem to be actively pushing them for the players and doing things with them and building deals and stuff like that. So it's a fine line to walk across, and I think that with a purchase of this size, and given the fact that it's all of Call of Duty and it's World of Warcraft and it's like all these huge things, if they go like as soon as those signatures are on that paper or whatever, and they'll be like, okay, we're going to support whatever projects are ongoing at the moment. In the meantime, whilst we're sort of working on new things or whatever, here's all of the Call of Duties, here's every Spyro, here's everything that all these IPs own, and we'll put it all on Game Pass straight away. Like, that to me would suggest that they are doing it for the people that are subscribing to this. They're saying we're trying to buy up as much content as we want, not to hoard it away and charge a shitload to everybody and 60 quid a go. It's because we want to stop people from doing that. So we want to hoard it, but make it available.
I don't think that's the thinking. I think that's something that would be put across for public relations and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is a case of, for me personally, going back to what we were saying previously. Even with this buyout, it's not God of War, and I think an argument that's been around for as long as these companies have been against each other is, you've got 15 games, but none of them are as good as this one PlayStation game, and Microsoft haven't got any first-party studios prior to these buyouts that was churning out fucking absolute banger after banger after banger after banger, whereas obviously Sony did and Nintendo did. So what Microsoft have done is gone, I mean, what we have got that neither of these two have got is a fucking load of money. let's just buy everything. You want AAA games? All right, it's Bethesda. But you want AAA games, and then just buying more and more and more. However, since these buyouts have happened, can you name me one game that's been made?
Grounded.
It was already in production before they were bought out. I'll give you a hint. Nothing.
Well, there will be something.
No,
I mean, bear in mind that for a lot of these, like, development time is usually a 2 or 3 year cycle for anything big anyway.
Everything that's come out was already in production prior to any of the buyouts.
That's what I mean, though, because that development cycle is such a long period of time. They wouldn't have had time to have finished what they were working on and then started something brand new for
the Outer Worlds was already
2. I mean, no, 2 would be the first time
that would be the first one. Outer Worlds was already in production.
But that's the thing; they haven't gone. Here's Obsidian's new game, and then we'll shit can it straight away. They've gone. People like it. We've given it for free. We'll support the second one.
Yeah.
And it's whether they follow that through with everything else, and that's the concern when you start to have so many businesses and so many studios under you. How much support can you really give to all of them to get the best out of them?
Well, this is something that they've said for a long time with Sony, isn't it? That we have got a select few first-party developers, and we can focus. If they need more resources, we'll give them more resources.
Everything they need.
They need more people on the team. We can take people from that team and we can put them into there, and it does. It obviously works from like whether people like Sony's first-party offerings of God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us, anything like that, whether you like it or not, they're fantastic games, and something that Microsoft have been very guilty of in the past. Definitely not now. Phil Spencer's taken over, but we've bought Rare, kill everything.
Yeah.
Like Lionhead Studios, kill everything, and obviously that's what they were known for. They would buy a studio up and then that's it, they're gone. And obviously that's not the case here. But even with this ridiculous nearly $70 billion for an acquisition of Activision, and I hate Call of Duty, so what else is there?
What the Activision owns?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, do you want me to find your little list and we can have a look?
I've already got one right here, but
I'm going to have a little look.
You go for it for yours, but one thing that did intrigue me, but then I lost interest immediately. Phil Spencer saying he wants to bring Guitar Hero back.
We've got Rocksmith now, mate. We don't need it anymore. We're fine.
That's Uplay though. Ubisoft, sorry.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh God. Okay. Well, that's all stuff for the Atari, so that's no good.
If you go on the Activision website, there's a list of all their current franchises.
Well, that's their current ones though, but it's not necessarily, because I'm thinking of everything that they do own as well.
Yeah, but don't forget
Guitar Hero also being one of them.
So your Crash Bandicoots and your Spyros, it's only the ones that are made from Toys for Bob that Activision own. The other ones are owned by Naughty Dog.
Right. Okay. Well, there's Monster Jam, Path of Destruction. So
obviously,
there's one straight away.
Skylanders,
Apache Air Assault.
Guess what I'll say.
iCarly 2. There's a bunch of Transformers stuff. X-Men. Spider-Man.
Did Activision not make iCarly 1?
I'm not going backwards in time on this, mate. Jesus. GoldenEye. So again, they'd have the license to make these specific, but they're the publishers. It's the developers underneath them. So theoretically, they should still own the license for that or whatever comes as that. But there will be a time limit.
Anything for Bond will have that'll definitely have they won't be able to re-release that.
No. And plus, there's a new Bond project in play with
IO
Interactive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Call of Duty, obviously, Prototype, Amazing Spider-Man, a bunch of Tony's. Yeah, so like Tony Hawk, so like a bunch of licensed stuff. 007 Legends, they had a bunch of 007 stuff.
Did Activision own Neversoft? Because Neversoft made the first few Tony Hawk games, and they were the best ones.
Yeah, purchased by Activision in '99.
There you go.
Fast and Furious, SpongeBob SquarePants, obviously. Ghostbusters. There's a bunch of shit there, and then
literally
from 2020 to now, it's Call of Duty, Tony Hawk's, Sekiro.
But Tony Hawk's only came out. Tony Hawk's has only come out like the last 2 years.
That's the new one, the one that was dog shit apparently.
But everything else is just Call of Duty.
In recent years, yeah.
Which is fine for people, like Call of Duty's there. And like I was saying to you the other day, once it's on Game Pass, I'll probably play it because it's going to be there. But it's 70 billion is a lot of money for Call of Duty.
Well, don't they make... don't they own Blizzard as well?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's...
Overwatch, Destiny...
Yeah, World of Warcraft, all of that.
No, Destiny was just on the Blizzard launcher, wasn't it?
Treyarch, that's the other one. Yeah, so that was the other studio that was flick around doing Call of Duty.
Well, that means we can finally get Overwatch done.
I mean, to be fair, we played Paladins, and I really like that.
Yeah, and Overwatch is just a better version of Paladins.
Well, it's especially as well as there's Overwatch 2 coming out at some point, so we'll get that as well.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Like I say, I think for us, the consumer, it's a fantastic purchase, but it's going to be something you're going to have to see in the long run to see whether it's going to pay off for Microsoft, because They'd be
a lot of moving parts there.
I mean, they'd be stupid if they don't release future Call of Duties on everything else still. So it's not going to be exclusive to Microsoft.
No.
Potentially,
so that's one of the reasons that you buy a franchise like that is because of how widespread it is. Like, then you go, no, we'll just have a third of that income, please.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And this is the same thing reason I said with the Bethesda stuff. They go, the next, all future Fallouts and Skyrim and everything else is only going to be on Microsoft platforms. You'd be absolute idiot. Absolute idiot. They still might, but I think it's a stupid
That
stupid
goes
idea.
back to my exact point, though, with Sony. Why, now that you've been able to reach out and your audience has a real interest in buying these first-party games on PC that you've got, you would be stupid not to put them on there.
What you would need to do is find out, and I don't think we could ever find out, but so the first 2 weeks of a game's release are the most important of its of that game coming out. Anything after that doesn't accrue into the how much money it's made and blah 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 blah. You would need to find out if those 2 weeks are still part of that PC release. Do you know what I mean? So God of War came out in 2017. Then first 2 weeks are the most important thing, and it was like the biggest selling game of the year and whatever else. Does the release on PC have that same window, or does that just go to the overall sales of the game, including the PS4 or the PS5 or whatever versions of it? Because if it doesn't, they're still going to be losing money on it.
But this is the thing, though, because they're not doing this because they've been backed into a corner. They're not releasing this reluctantly to, we better shut the PC people up. They had no obligation to do it whatsoever. The obvious drive would be is maybe there's an additional market here that we could tap.
Yeah, I mean they've dabbled with it in, say, like Days Gone, Horizon, stuff like that, but also PlayStation Now, which was their streaming service, and that was available on PC and other stuff as well. I was talking to a guy the other day the day Microsoft bought Activision, and I was like, have you seen the news? He goes, yeah. He goes, Sony released the best game ever on PC, and Microsoft go, well, we best buy Activision. When I don't think that's why they bought Activision, because God of War's on PC.
Do you reckon you could do that in a day as well?
Yeah.
Do you reckon you can call up and just be like, hey, do you want to sell your whole company? Like, yeah, how much are you thinking? About 70 billion? Yeah, sure. I think it's a bit more complicated than that.
Do you know God of War came out on PC this week? Holy shit!
Quick, buy Activision!
That's not what a stupid thing to say. But I mean, I don't get what, I still don't understand what he actually means. But I still stand by that argument that even buying Activision and adding all of those games to it, none of them are as good as God of War. And I
think they're trying to make a more a wider quantitative library than a qualitative. So they want a bigger library. So you've got that Netflix level of, oh man, I could just choose whatever. And there's all these cool indie games and stuff.
This is what I was going to ask you.
2 PlayStation games that would be way better.
Do you think what Microsoft are doing, Bethesda, Activision, basically every other fucking publisher that isn't owned by Nintendo or Sony, do you think? I heard a rumor today that Sony are looking to purchase EA, but again, rumors.
No, because then we'd lose Star Wars. I don't know, because they haven't got Star Wars anymore. Now it's back with Lucasfilm, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, right.
No, because
Microsoft, if you're listening,
in 6 years' time, you'd get those Star Wars games.
No, Microsoft. I need you to go out and buy LucasArts now, or Lucasfilm, or whatever.
No
it
chance.
is. So
that's Disney now. Microsoft haven't got Disney money. Fuck it out.
Talking Disney money, yeah.
What we need Disney to do is buy Sony and Microsoft.
No, I'm not going to Disney Plus Play to. I mean, if that was still £4 a month, mate,
I like how you instantly turned yourself around. There's no way I'm going for Disney Plus Play. If it was £4 a month, though, I'd definitely do it.
I'm just thinking, I don't like the sort of, this capitalist drive for one conglomerate that owns everything and controls everything and releases everything that they want to, rather than, people fighting a battle.
Yeah, YouTube.
But as a consumer, I'd be like, if I could play God of War and then Forza on the same streaming thing,
and then watch Hawkeye.
I'm okay with that. I couldn't whinge too much about it.
The same lad I was talking to the other day, and he said about that's why they buy Activision bollocks. And he goes, what we need Microsoft or Sony to do is just say, just fuck all this off and make a console together. I'm like, that's the last thing you fucking want. It costs £500 to buy that now.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. These are two warring nations that need to marry to stop them from a civil war or something.
This competition's really good.
Competition is good. Yeah, that's why you get a Game Pass, and it's why you get a PS5, and it's why you get new innovations in technology. It's one-upsmanship.
This is what my question is, though. Do you think now, with all of this that's going on, Microsoft and Sony aren't rivals anymore, and Microsoft are going in a completely different direction?
I'd say that's probably true.
You're looking more at Apple and Google and Netflix, and that's the kind of people they're going after now, not Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah, rather than just restricting themselves to just be physical media on a physical machine, it's a bit more digital based. So it's just like, you don't need to own any of the hardware that we make.
Just need
Xbox,
just need a controller.
Yeah, a controller and a PC or an iPad that's got a decent internet connection, and you've got access to every single game that we would and have released.
This takes us back to the idea for having xCloud on a little dongle that you just plug in your TV, and you've got there's your Game Pass. All you need is a dongle, internet, and a controller, and you're good to go. Yeah. I've got 3 Xboxes. I'd still buy that.
Yeah,
I think that's such a good idea, and it's absolutely
what
doable.
Stadia could have been if they'd have done it properly.
The annoying thing with Stadia is it's shit, but this is the kind of. Do you remember the Ouya?
No.
It was an Android. It was an Android console, and it failed miserably. But the idea behind it was pretty decent. And Stadia is basically a streaming Ouya. However, unlike Ouya, which sounds more ridiculous the more you say it, Ouya, Google have the money behind them to make Stadia excellent. But
Google are in a position to go, we're sick of this, we'll buy you all.
But Microsoft.
Yeah, we'll just buy you all and put you all on Stadia, and then everyone has to play Stadia. And then the video game industry just dies overnight.
But they kind of came out and half-arsed it, and then they were dead surprised when people were like, well, this is shit. Why would we fucking do this?
How many times has someone tried to get into the technology market, like a phone company that goes, we've got this brand new phone, and it's just like, yeah, but you haven't had market penetration for 15 years. You're not going to make it.
Do you remember the Steam controller?
Yeah, or 2 years that was around. Yeah,
I really. But all I was going to say was there was the Steam Link. There was a little Steam Link box that you plugged into your TV, and you could link your PC to it.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
There was a time when obviously Valve were just getting rid of inventory that they had, and you could buy a Steam Link and a Steam controller for £5. And I looked at it, I was like, when am I ever going to use that? Flash forward a few years, I really needed a Steam Link.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I just ended up plugging the PC in, but I was like, that would have been dead handy, because they used to have an app for the Nvidia Shield, but it's not supported.
For the Steam controller?
No, for the Steam Link. So you could just could use this. But
the Steam controller had a mouse tracking pad thing on where the D-pad was, wasn't it? It's like a super sensitive.
Yeah, so you had a trackpad. I can't remember the exact layout, but you had your analog, normal, and then the one on the right was a mouse trackpad.
Yeah, it's but
apparently the customization options of it are still way better than any controller ever. And once you got used to it, also, so Xbox controller concaved like a normal controller. The Steam controller was that way, so the handles was on the inside like that.
I don't know how I feel about that. I
Didn't
think I'd
feel
want to
great.
go on one of these. I've been looking at like an Elite controller or an Elite 2 controller because I'm just like my current one's fine, but the right bumper seems to be a little bit on the blink.
Why don't you become like a controller hipster? And you're like, I don't want your
50 of them.
your Elites. I want a Steam controller. Because I reckon you'd like it.
But that's the thing. Like it was sold as like, you know, oh, it's the controller for PC. It's like, so, you know, you could play your Total War or whatever using this thing. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Like I wouldn't want to play any mouse-based game with a trackpad and a laptop, let alone something that's like on this thing. It just feels very counterintuitive. But before I'd say anything, I can't really cast any aspersions to something if I haven't.
I've never used one, and I know.
So I'd want to have a little go of it, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I see one cheaper, I mean, to be fair, I say cheap enough. There's no way you're going to get it cheaper than what Valve were actually giving it away for. But
no,
it's very split. It's like a Marmite controller, and the people who like them really fucking like them, and still to this day, are like, this is the best controller ever made. The people who don't like them, it's like, this is disgusting. And it should never have been made ever. So it's very, very split. But I would be interested to try and, I mean, like CX or something if they had one. It'd probably be about $7,000 from CX.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway, we've gone on for nearly an hour and a half, Dan. We didn't even get into the stuff that we wanted to talk about. Well, we just wrap it up because you know what's going to happen.
Well,
surely.
I'd say do it quickly because it hasn't finished yet. So go on.
Boba Fett. I am quite underwhelmed by it. I really like it, but up to now, I feel Mandalorian has been the show that Boba Fett should have been.
No.
No.
No, I think Mando as a show is brilliant. I think it holds its own, and I think it is better, 100%. But Boba it's trying to fill a gap.
It's trying to be Arrow.
Arrow wishes it was half as good as this
I'm
thing.
sick to fucking death of flashbacks.
No, but that's it. Like they've done that now. Like they've caught up to the point where it's just like, and I love the fact that they just went, "You healed." Like, you don't need to go in the back tank anymore. I was like, oh, okay, that means all the backstory's done then. Okay, cool. But that's a backstory that I've really liked.
But it hasn't amounted to anything.
See, no, but it's seeing, like, it's, you know, the sand people, the Tusken Raiders that have always been, you know, these sort of bandits. They're worth nothing because they just honk and kill people.
But they still do.
But now they've been given heart and an actual, you know, there's a tribe mentality and there's children and they train them and it's like a warrior race, and they live in harmony with the desert.
But they
even
even
just
say
get fucking wiped out.
But they even say that's most of the Sand people are like that. They are murderers. They are thieves. Blah 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 blah. We've chose to live this way.
Yeah.
So theoretically, they could have already been around, and there could have been other tribes doing similar things. But these are the first ones that we've seen. But I don't know, it just seems... I'll tell you what's pissed me off the most. Fucking Vespers.
That is the one thing. You remember when I messaged you and I was just like, have you watched Boba Fett yet? And I was just like, there's one thing in there that I couldn't stand.
That's what also... You know, when I said...
Vespers.
My friend had said...
like, that literally, the thing he was on about?
Yeah, that was what it was.
That was an unbelievable choice.
Why aren't they on speeders?
I have no idea. But it's not even that they're just sort of like, they're hyped up speeders. They're like super speeders. They're Vespers.
They're literally
just space Vespers. With the fucking billion mirrors on and stuff like that. Why would you have like 50 mirrors on a bike on a planet with 2 suns? As soon as the sunlight gets in there, it's going to magnify and set your face on fire.
Well, it's not even just that. As annoying as impractical as that is, on Tatooine, everything's sand, and everything is sand colour. Now we got bright pink, bright blue, we got fucking indigo, we got a green, there's a white one, probably a black one. You got all these different colours, which I would be less annoyed with if they were speeders. And they've just gone, wow, these are crazy kids. They've spray painted
the kids that are driving them, though, they're all modded. So they're called mods. And what do mods drive about on? Vespers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you couldn't have even made it subtle, could you?
Pod races.
That's as on the nose as you could have got. But it's not like it's not some piece of shit beat up thing that they've sort of smushed together. They're like off the factory line. Where are they getting these from? Where's the dealership? In Mos Espa.
I'm not paying however many credits he wanted for some water. That's fucking outrageous. Look how much I spent on this fucking scooter.
these 6 matching bikes for me and my terrible modded biker gang.
Also, previous episode, not the last one, the one before, Boba's got a Fennec? Yeah.
Fennec Shan. Yeah.
Her. He's got his 2 fucking guards. He's got all these fucking mods. How the fucking hell does he still get in, nearly kill him, before he fights any of these lot?
What were you on about?
So, I can't remember his name. Bad Chewbacca.
Oh, I love that dude.
That's it. Another thing that's annoying me about him, but rectified later. He goes in, pulls fucking Boba out of the because I was still complaining about that. I was like, oh god, he's gone back in his fucking tank, he's gonna have another flashback. And so and then when he pulls him out, blah 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 blah, and so he was like, see, I mean, at least they didn't have a flashback this week. I went, hey, because he fucking woke him up.
It just means we're gonna get it next week
instead.
Yeah,
we have 2 now. But he goes in, like, obviously fights him, blah 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 blah, and then everyone else comes to fight him. Where were they? How did he get past everyone?
Because he's a mega assassin. I don't know.
He just strolled in.
Well, as it stands at the moment, he's got like 3 people that work in the palace. Like, I think I could get past them all if I wanted to.
But you know, when he lets him go, we are fast forwarding a little bit, and he's just like, bit of advice: don't work for dickheads. Whatever he says, he's like, go on. You're free to go. Rewatch this bit because the fucking Wookiee goes. Like, this fucking deadly assassin is just like fucking crimping away. Fucking idiot. And so he may as well have done. I didn't like the knuckle dusters when we first see him. When he's with the Hutts. Like, why has a Wookiee got fucking knuckle dusters? He doesn't need them. But then they're electric. I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. I'll allow it.
Yeah, some cool taser knuckles. Yeah.
See, I really like it. Sounds like a proper bagging on it, but I do really, really like it. However, I'm massively underwhelmed, and I think that's mostly my fault for hype. Like, I thought after seeing Boba in Mandalorian, and he's fucking kicking ass, and he's like doing all the stuff that he never did in the movies, but we don't get any of that in this, and I think that's what annoys me the most, because it's.
Well, I think that this is what they're trying to do, though, is that rather than just have him just running around and blowing people away constantly, like, he's past all of that and he's sick of it, which is why he was to Fennec. He was just like, I can do this job, and I'm don't be a bounty hunter anymore, because no one's going to have you back, but you help me out, and I'll have and we can work together, and we can make an absolute killing on this. Yeah. So he's just past it. But do you know something that was? I felt a bit bad for thinking it initially, but there's a shot. I can't remember which episode it is, but it's in one of them, and he's in his full armor, and he just looks so sort of fat. He just looks fat and round, and I was just like, oh, that's a bit of a shame. But he's an old guy, and I'll let it go, as if that matters to anyone. And then they did that episode when he gets pulled out the tank and he's shirtless, and I was like, oh, he's not fat. He's so shredded that he fills it out like he is. Like his abs are on another level of muscle outside of his body, and I was just like, mate, you're pushing 50 odd or whatever. Well done, my friend.
He still looks great.
You look insane wearing those Kylo Ren pants up to his nips.
Have you seen that meme for I think it's Drake, the guy when he's just like.
Oh yeah.
It's Kylo Ren at the top with the trousers, which is like,
Oh, really?
and then it's that bit. And you're like,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
but did you notice? Have you seen the thing about Parks and Recreation? Again, this is unintentional.
Always coming back to Parks and Rec. Sure.
So the episode with Patton Oswalt in, he's when he's, I forgot what the terminology is, but where he's just talking and talking. That's the one. And he's on about Tatooine. Camera pans out, zooms in, Sarlacc pit. A hand rises. Yeah, we're like, that's the first episode.
Yeah, pretty much. This is the question I've got though, right? Because
it is it's in the books.
I figured that after he'd been, Han Solo'd and flew into the Sarlacc, he sort of had a bit of a wiggle and a struggle and finally managed to get his way out, but everyone had already fucked off by that point. Apparently he was in there for years?
Years and years and years. This is my second criticism, Dan. Beskar armor, as he says. So,
no, that's fine. I get that he hasn't been dissolved in acid or whatever. What's he eating? What's he been drinking?
He's a
Has
clone.
he got a life support
Nipples.
recycling suit or something?
This was my biggest issue with the first episode, Dan. So he's been in there a while, right? But at the time, I wasn't sure of the time frame. I thought, like you, everyone had already gone, and then he got out.
Yeah.
There was no stormtroopers around during that battle, so their armor's not made of Beskar, but it was pristine, right? What's the one thing that Boba Fett does before he gets out?
Takes his helmet off.
No,
he
gets an oxygen tank.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I knew it was something to do with the helmet.
Neither the stormtrooper nor Boba's helmet are sealed.
No, it's cloth.
Yeah, so what's the fucking point?
There's always that sort of hidden movie rule of if something is hermetically sealed or air sealed, it goes when it comes off. Predator's mask.
Yeah, but
it's got the oxygen tubes and that.
Again, in every other Star Wars thing, it's when a stormtrooper takes his helmet off, even a thingy, it's just off, nothing. But
Luke Skywalker,
yeah,
does that?
Yeah, it's fucking Finn.
That's the exact era of stormtrooper that we're talking about.
Whereas Darth Vader, that's going to make a noise, and it does in all of the things.
Yeah, because it's all sealed. Because he can't breathe without it. Yeah.
And Kylo Ren's has got the latches on, so it is always like a mechanism.
Yeah, and it's like.
But Boba just goes. But in this, it's like when he takes it off.
If it was
think it's just
if
him?
it was like an Iron Man suit and it was just
he treats it like
one. Yeah, maybe. But no, if it was just we're not getting out of here, go into life preserver mode.
Yeah,
and
if it had functions and stuff,
froze him still. But from what they're saying, unless this just is going to be explained in a later episode, presumably when someone goes, how did you survive in there for years? Were you just eating bits of Sarlacc or what?
Also, when the marshal takes the helmet off, it doesn't make the noise.
It's because he didn't know he had to say it.
He could also dress himself.
Up in here.
So
that's true.
But I fucking hate when he's just stood there and you got the droid doing all the work, and you've got the image of Iron Man and all that, and it's literally just helmet, shoulder pads. You're good to go.
No, I like the sort of someone needs to dress you in your garb, and that's like a proper cool thing. I'm cool with that. But I think that this is a leader Boba Fett. This isn't bounty hunting Boba Fett. Because if you just wanted him just traveling around zapping people, well, that's kind of the Mandalorian. So
it makes loads of sense not to just go, here's a Mandalorian, but this one's green. And this one's silver. And I 100% get that, and I'm appreciative that they haven't gone down that route. But like I say, most of these criticisms, with the exception of the Vesper and some of the minor details like the oxygen stuff and all that crap.
That's just sort of just go, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's no different than older Spider-Man stuff. You go, well, his web's just shooting at nothing, and it's it's just silly details. But I don't know. I think what you said with Hawkeye, I think would have benefited with Boba Fett.
Watch it
all in one go. Yeah. because they've got better. I think each episode has been better, and the newest one is the best one by far, but only for that one scene.
Last week's.
Yeah. Where he goes to
when they go back.
Where he goes to get his shit back.
Yeah, and then he drops that fucking seismic bomb into that Sarlacc, and it's like, and shreds it. I was just like, I love that sound.
Nah.
That sound, I can never get enough of that.
Also, I don't get how he thinks that his armor was in there, because he had his armor on when he came out.
Yeah, but he was like, if you think that he's been in there for years and he's dehydrated and he's worse for the wear, and then he crawls out and then the Jabbas strip him of it straight away. Is he just not going to wake up with the stand people and just be like, what the fuck just happened?
Suppose,
because obviously there's still going to be that convergence of his story and Mando's and him getting his armor back and that. So they're not going to show that again. I reckon it'll just be a very sort of like, okay, we touched on it sort of thing.
Yeah, it'll probably just be a case of earlier that day.
I reckon that there's definitely room for a Mando cameo.
There has to be.
Like there's some sort of crossover there. But do you think though? Because obviously we've had. We've had some of the older sort of Star Wars stuff, like pit droids and pod races and that sort of stuff come back up to some degree, like battle droids and things like that. As this is still set, when fucking Luke Skywalker is like primo Luke Skywalker, like kicking ass and taking names, do you think that we're going to get, like, not necessarily a Luke cameo? Because the thing is, though, that would be one that would make more sense, because Boba would be like, I remember you.
Yeah.
I remember you, Sunshine. Where's you and Han Solo? I'm going to fuck you up.
What about a deep fake Han Solo?
Get like a Chewie in there, because, like, you don't need Harrison Ford's 40 years ago. You just need the Chewie suit and just pops up a tool in it. Could we get that kind of caliber of... So if you've got Luke in Mando, that's a big one to top. But, a Darth Maul or... something like that coming over. Do you know what I mean?
I think it'd be a good time to get some so in Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff, you've got a lot of bounty hunters that have worked with Boba Fett.
Yeah, you Cad Bane.
Yeah, get a Cad Bane in there, man. That'd be awesome. I know it's
the Hondo.
Yeah, the pirate smuggler guy. There's been his race in Boba Fett. I've seen a few of his race of people. Yeah, not Hondo.
I'm surprised Bosk hasn't showed up yet, given the fact that there's been a whole bunch of Trandoshans and yet no Bosk. Maybe that's the big.
I know
sort of that's only going to make sense to people who know Bosk from like the one scene that he's in one movie.
It's what I was going to say. Like, and one of the highlights for Mando to start with was the bounty hunter droid. That again is in one scene with a lineup with Boba Fett, but. I know none of these are Luke Skywalker levels of awesome, but with the exception of Palpatine or Darth Vader, who is?
Well, Vader's dead, mate.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, where can you go? Where can you go from Luke? That's your fucking top. That is.
Yeah. Because that's what I mean. Like a Han or a Chewie or a Leia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of them will top Luke in terms of like, oh my god, but
like what an entrance kind of.
They're the closest you're gonna get.
Maybe that if that Wookiee starts getting a bit rambunctious or whatever, and Chewie just he's there to sort him out. Maybe.
I
don't know. There's a lot of potential there, and
there's
I think
2 episodes left, so
a major player in terms of like considering.
Mando
got Ahsoka, and Luke Skywalker, and he's got no business knowing either of those. Yeah. Boba Fett does, so he needs someone of that caliber. But it still took 2 seasons before we got a Jedi, and then we got 2.
Yeah.
So is this just going to be more of a this is what he's been doing to get into this point, and then now all the new cool stuff is going to happen?
A time ago, like we didn't have any big like old characters in the show. Like, did the third sand person you saw is the first one you see before Obi-Wan comes over the clearing. Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's coming soon as well.
It is actually, yeah. And the Andor thing, I think, is next year. Cassian Andor, I think is. So I mean, potentially, like anyone. I mean, again, Ahsoka could turn up in this.
I mean, Obi-Wan's not going to show up, obviously.
Well, he's very much dead.
No,
by
that's
this
what
point,
I mean. Like, so we could rule that one out. Ahsoka potentially could, and she would. No, she hasn't got any thingies in, but I think you could actually. I think you probably could go around with. Oh my god, Django. I'm sure Ahsoka met Django when she was a lot younger. I'm sure that's in the Clone Wars series.
But would she?
Sure, recognise him at all because she would have been tiny,
what I mean.
tiny.
Like,
but I also could be wrong, and I may have misremembered that.
Well, I'm sure that there's a whole bunch of Mandalorians that could show up in there anyway, because like he's already met like Bo-Katan and stuff like that. Yeah. So, you know, maybe there's something that's there as well, or you know, some of the old original clone troopers. You know, the ones that show up in all the Clone Wars things, like a Rex or.
Let's get a Rex in there. A Rex would be a good one.
But he'd be playing him as well.
Yeah.
So like he'd be like, "Oh, it's me. It's Rex, and here's Cody, and here's all the other clones from all the other clone things, and it's just a line of him, just like, hey, how you doing?
What about the Bad Batch? Because they're not clones of him.
Oh, I don't care about that fucking show.
It's great, man. I'll be honest. I enjoyed Bad Batch more than I've enjoyed Boba Fett.
Okay, right. Well, that's everything for everyone. Thanks very much for today. We'll leave it there because that's the worst thing I've ever heard. That's long enough anyway. And bye.
Can I test? Callum, you are a police officer. You cannot do that. No, Callum, put the gun away, for God's sake.
Can I lean out the car and shoot?
No. No, Callum.
What if I suspect
just end it for you? You cannot do it.
What if I suspect
Callum,
doing something?
Fucking listen to me.
Our car is on fire, Dan. Dan, he's
fleeing. Oh, they're fleeing, Callum.
He's fleeing.
Get a taser out. Callum, get the taser. Get the taser. Get the taser.
What
Now's
number's
the time.
taser?
Breathe a pistol. Number 2, and then point it down. No, I said don't shoot him unless he refuses to stop.
He did refuse.
You can have a look at this car
That man
here.
just littered.
A triangle overhead.
Him.
There.
Get the fuck here. I'll tase him, Dan.
Oh, he's fleeing.
He's fleeing.
Pull that taser on him. Make him stop. Please freeze.
Freeze.
Oh, he froze. He froze. That's it.
Show me your ID, you fucking scum.
Oh, she's fleeing.
She's fleeing,
Freeze.
Dad. Get
Freeze. I tased her. I'm not having any of that.
I tased her.